Hey, what's going on, people in the 40 Nick and world? This is Juf Duvich here. I'm going to try to move quick with this. I have a top rankings for the past 2 years. Took me a little bit of time to get on. My computer screen broke. I was camping in Puerto Rico and went to Puerto Rico. So I'm just going to try to run through it quick here. Last night I did the whole tape, and I don't know what happened. So basically, I have 4 tiers, 28 players. And like I said, I'm going to move kind of quick here. In tier 4, I have Bull as the 28th player. I didn't really get a lot of input on the back tier or even the third tier either. So it's a little bit of guesswork. It would have been good if I had some more input, but basically this is the best I could come up with. The next person, Mo. The next person is Dolphins, and then above that will be Rhymes. Rhymes looks like he could actually jump to tier 3, along I think Mo too, a little more in practice, and also in the MS for Mo. And then I had Candy next, and then at 23, McNair. The reason McNair is at the top of tier 4 is it just looks like he had a little bit of sketchy game plan going on. So basically, that's where I put him, and no one really seemed to vote otherwise. For tier 3, there's the back end number 22 is Scoots. I don't really know where to put Scoots. I actually forgot him. I never played him before, so I wasn't really sure what to do. But he got one high vote, but nobody else mentioned him, so I kept him at 22. Radar comes next. I think he's underrated. Pretty solid player. Maybe just needs to catch a little luck or something. The next person is Don't Cheese, and I think Don't Cheese. Actually, I was going to put Don't Cheese in the 4th tier, but upon reading the votes, it looked like maybe he was even a possible tier 2, so I moved him up a little bit. And just to stop it real quick, I'm actually in tier 4. I don't know where to rank myself. So hopefully next year I'll be able to move into tier 3. But like I said, I don't want to rank myself or people to rank themselves. The next person would be Tammy. Tammy is another really confusing person to rank. I played pretty well against him until he figured me out, and then he beat me twice. So I don't know. Some people mention him even possible tier 1 if he has a real good game, or tier 4. Sticks in V3. They can have big games there, so I just kept them in that realm. Spicoli was a close call. I wanted to put him in tier 2, but he's a newer guy. Although I don't think me and him or the others are that new, but we're still sort of new. So maybe next year that'll be a little more easier to rank him. Above him, I have Clockworkman. Clockworkman seems like he was a tier 1, tier 2 type player, but now he probably doesn't practice as much. Maybe has some life taking place, outside of video games. So that's where I've seen him. But I know, he might move up even next year. Rhino. Rhino is another confusing person. I feel like his game plan would get blasted by the people in tier 1. So I just think he had a real stale game plan, and he didn't really get any votes either. So the next person is Pac. Pac, I think he was like 14-2 in the MS. I actually beat him the first week on a Hail Mary pass, but he was in a tough conference. Everybody except Skip was in his conference as far as the top players. So he didn't make it, to the MS Bowl. But yeah, I mean, based upon his season, I just figured, the top of tier 3, towards the top. Stone Cold. I have a hard time playing Stone Cold. Seems like he has a big routine. Probably practices a lot. I don't think he's tier 1, tier 2, but he's a pretty good player. I have at the very top of tier 3 is CJ. CJ is just a solid player. And for tier 3, I marked down realistic conference finals, like realistically could make it to almost a championship game. For the tier 4 is the pick and play people that just pick up the paddle and play. So moving into tier 2, These are the people that are more contenders. You know, you wouldn't be surprised if they won a chip, although they wouldn't be favored, but they could easily, not easily, but they could win. At the very bottom, I have Why So Serious at number 10. He just beat Skip, so if I did this before, I probably wouldn't have put him here. And he actually got a vote. Somebody voted him, I think, top 5 or something, top 7. I can't remember where they voted him. So I had to move him into the tier 2 based upon people's votes. Your Route, I really want to put him in a tier 3, but I think he's a rising player. I think he's a solid, he's good sportsmanship. He doesn't, seem to, do little gadget plays. I think he's not the type that can be picked apart, on a real basic game plan that he just does over and over again. I think he's a rising player. Bread is the next one above that, and he finished real strong last year. It's actually kind of funny. By August, it looked like he was like the best player in the whole 40 Nick. But he, started real slow. So I guess he's a guy that just gets better as the year goes on. But this year, of course, everything kind of changed for everybody. BFRC, he's just an all-around good player, sort of in the you're-out mode. I think that his game plan is real good. I don't think he really does any cheese plays or, I think he's just a solid player. Number 6, J-Fam. I mean, he beat Skip, even though he had a better roster. He didn't play this year. But I don't know, I just have him at 6 and nobody disagreed. So now on to tier 1, and I actually have a person that I don't have in tier 1 or tier 2. It would be the number 5 ranked person, Heater. He didn't move, he stayed right outside the tier 1, but not quite in tier 2. I think he's the one X factor. So moving into tier 1 is Doc. Doc has a solid record in one of the toughest, actually the toughest league in the 40 league. He got moved down a little bit with the votes, but not enough. So he's still in that tier 1 based upon people's input and votes. Rican is at 3. He's just an all-around player. One thing I like about Rican and Skip and Prime and Doc and the guys that are play a lot, practice a lot, is they don't really run up the scores. So I like how when they're winning, they kind of they back off a little bit. Although I like when they play me tough, but so I can learn something. They don't try to rub it in. So I'm glad that someone like Rican and the other guys have some sportsmanship. But I have him at 3. It looks like he moved up upon votes. I know he voted himself up too, but other people gave him good votes. Skip, great D. I really wish I could figure out how to learn something from Skip and Heater among a few other people. His D is just incredible. His offense, like I said before, reminds me of a half-court basketball offense. It gets the job done. It's not really the greatest, but it does what it needs to do. And Prime is just an offensive explosion. To me, he's the clear-cut best person in the 40 Nick League, number 1 ranked. So basically that's it. I'm going to stop this really soon. I just want to say I'm looking forward to next year. Really looking forward to the MS. For my Eagles, I got the jersey on here. Hopefully they had a good draft this year. Hopefully. I got Fletcher Cox, Nick Foles, Earl Wolf for the MS, so I'm looking forward to that. So hopefully next year's Madden on the PlayStation is real good, and hopefully we get an influx of new players now that we realize that we need that. So if you guys can comment on this, that'd be great. I'll talk to y'all later.